For 2025, I decided to update my best and worst of series where I focus on one drugstore brand. I might do high end too, but I feel like in general, I have a lot from, a bunch of different drugstore brands. And I just recently did e.l.f. So if you want to hear my thoughts on the brand, I'll link it in the description box below. For the second video, I wanted to do Essence. I've loved Essence for almost as long as I've loved e.l.f. I know I have a video on my channel from like 8 or 9 years ago where I tried a bunch of their products. And I don't know if it was the first time or I was just doing a full face of Essence, but interestingly enough, a lot of their products are like the same prices. And we know that's not the case for a lot of drugstore brands. Obviously, it makes sense for brands to increase their prices over a span of 10 years, but Essence has actually kept it very, very affordable. Everything in today's video is like $6 and under. They don't even really have that many products that are over the $6 or $7 price point. And what I love about Essence is not only do they keep it affordable, they're also just a fun brand. They're always doing cute limited edition collections. They do trendy products for great prices. I'm going to split this video into 4 different parts. So I'll start with viral products that I think are worth the hype. These are the things you're seeing all over social media, everyone is raving about, and also some dupes for higher end products that I truly think are worth checking out. Then I'll share some amazing underrated products that maybe don't get as much love, but I think are still just as great. I'll talk about a couple of my daily staples, maybe some slightly boring products that you just kind of incorporate into your routine day after day that I do think are worth trying as well. And then I'll finish up with products that did not work for me. So I definitely have to start with the Lash Princess mascaras. I feel like for a lot of people, this is their first introduction to Essence because these mascaras are so raved about. And I don't know if that was the case for me, but I know that I've been repurchasing these mascaras for like the last 8 or 9 years, ever since I first tried the brand, and I love them. They're $4.99 each, and I feel like they've remained that price, like I said, for a very long time. Within the Lash Princess line, there are quite a few options. These are my personal favorites, the False Lash Effect, which I think is the most popular one. It has the most reviews online. This is the one that I hear people talk about the most. This is a very dramatic mascara. It does a great job of adding a ton of length, a lot of drama. And then the one that I personally like the best is the Curl and Volume Mascara. I think this one kind of combines the best parts of all of the other Lash Princess mascaras. So it gives you volume, it lifts your lashes, and it adds that drama. Combining these together really actually is like the perfect combo too, because you get curl, volume, and length. These are very wet mascaras, so keep that in mind. If you like something that feels a little bit more dry when you initially apply it, you probably won't like this formula. It takes a little bit of time to dry. For me, I've never had an issue with flaking or smudging, but I do feel like one of the biggest complaints with this formula is that it does flake or smudge by the end of the day. So if you have really long lashes or watery eyes, or you're kind of prone to smudging in general, it might not be the most ideal option for you. It really is one of those mascaras that's like kind of hit and miss. It's so popular for a reason, but I think there are enough people that don't like it that I would feel most comfortable saying like read through the reviews before purchasing. Anyway, I absolutely love this formula. I personally do think it's worth the hype, and since I've repurchased it so many times over the last 8 or 9 years, I feel like it will be a forever repurchase. Like it's just something that I love to have on hand because when I want dramatic lashes, that is a perfect formula to use. Another one of the most popular products from Essence would have to be the Pure Nude Highlighter. Again, I tried this years ago when I first discovered the brand, and I would say that I like it now in 2025 even more than I did back then. I feel like I've had my ups and downs with this highlighter. Like I've decluttered it over the years and then I've repurchased it and fallen back in love with it. And for the last few years, I've definitely appreciated the subtle quality of this highlighter. I'll tell you right now, it really doesn't swatch well. I feel like you don't get a good picture of this product from a swatch. It's how it looks on the skin. And I'm not even sure that it will translate really well on camera. It's the type of highlighter that I love in person because it is very soft. It looks pretty on the skin. It's very natural. It doesn't look powdery or heavy or cakey. It really never looks like that, no matter how much you add. I'm wearing it today. I feel like it just adds a perfect subtle glow. I actually love this on the nose. I don't love to have a super beaming highlighter on my nose. I just feel like it doesn't really look right on me, but this is perfect if I'm wearing a lot of powder because then my nose can look a little bit too flat. So I'll take a light amount of this and just go down the center, and it just kind of adds like just a little something to bring it back to life. It really is a beautiful formula. It reminds me of like an hourglass formula in the way that it's just very undetectable, very pretty, really natural on the skin. They do have another shade, which is called Sunlighter, and that one's a little bit deeper, which could be a better option for you. I only have this one, which does work well for me, but Sunlighter has more of like a warm golden tone to it. So such a gorgeous option if you like softer, more natural makeup, or softer, more natural highlight, I should say. One of my all-time favorite products from the brand, if not my favorite, like I know for sure this is in the top 3, would have to be their Pure Nude Baked Blush formula. I absolutely love this. They came out with it a few years ago, and at this point I do have all of the shades. I originally purchased like 1 or 2, and then whenever I was placing an order from Ulta, I just added like another one to my cart because they're so stunning, and I honestly wear all of them. There are a couple that I tend to reach for more so than others, but I think they are all equally beautiful. Now, again, this is the type of product that you're not going to see how gorgeous it is from the swatches. And that's kind of the case with a lot of products. I do swatch products just so you can have a feel for the texture, the way it looks on the skin. But baked products typically don't swatch as well as they apply to the skin. And I'll swatch them for you just so you can see what they look like. But I feel like the real magic happens when you actually apply them to the cheeks. And in general, I think they do look a little bit more vibrant on the cheeks than they do when you swatch them. So just something to keep in mind. I just recently did a dupes video and I actually compared this to the Saie Baked Blush. I said it was a better alternative. So Saie's formula is talc-free, but Essence also has a talc-free formula with this line. This is more affordable, you get more product, and I think it just looks better on the skin. It gives you more of that smooth, just kind of airbrushed look. These add a slight glow to the skin. They look very natural, but you can also build them up. More so the deeper shades than the lighter, softer shades. But a lot of higher end brands are doing powder blushes again, and some brands are doing baked blushes. And I would say before you run out and spend the money on those, if you haven't tried these yet, I do recommend them. They're very inexpensive, but they perform beautifully. So if you prefer liquid cheek products, Essence does have liquid bronzers, liquid highlighters, and liquid blushes. The Baby Got Bronze line, I mean, I only tried the one shade, but this is not my favorite. I don't think it's the exact same as the liquid blushes and the highlighters. This one seems to dry very, very fast. The other ones do dry pretty quickly as well, but not as fast as this. Like this doesn't really give me enough time to blend it out well. So sometimes I end up with a little bit of a streaky look if I'm not blending quickly enough because it starts drying. So if that's an issue for you, you might want to skip over it. I haven't heard everyone say that, so it might not be the same case for you. I just find that it doesn't, I don't have as much time to work with it as I do the blushes or the highlighters. That being said, I do love the blushes and the highlighters. So the blushes don't have any shimmer in them. You can definitely mix in a little bit of highlighter if you want more of a glowy look, but I kind of like that they're not shimmery because you can easily customize them. They have some pretty shades. They have 4 shades. I feel like they have a good range within the 4 that they've launched, and these look great on the skin. You can absolutely sheer these out to look really natural on the skin, which is what I appreciate because a lot of liquid blush formulas are very highly pigmented, which can absolutely be a pro for you or a con, just depending on how you typically do your makeup. But when it comes to liquid blush, I definitely have a tendency to over apply it. So I find this formula pretty easy to work with because you can easily sheer it out and then it dries down. It stays in place really well. It's not like an oily texture. It's not overly glowy. I feel like it lasts really well on my skin. It's just easy to work with. So if you're intimidated by liquid blush, I feel like this is a great option just because I can use it in a hurry, have no issues with streakiness or over applying it. The highlighters, again, equally as beautiful. I typically apply these with a brush, but you can tap them in with your finger. And I have been mixing these with liquid blushes lately because, again, it's not like an oily texture. It's very lightweight, so it just mixes really well with other liquid formulas without changing the formula too much. Like I said, all of the products do dry down fairly quickly, just not as fast as the bronzer. I don't know what it is about this. I feel like it just dries so fast, which is why I personally don't like it as much as the other two, but it could work for you. I haven't heard that complaint from everyone again, so I don't know what it is. Okay, let's talk about a few dupes and alternatives that are potentially worth purchasing over the higher end option. So the first product is the What a Tint. It's a lip and cheek tint. A lot of people have said this is a dupe for Benefit's Benetint. To be fair, I have not tried that product in a really long time. I'm not even exactly sure when I tried it. It was over 10 years ago, maybe even longer than that. So again, it's been a while, but when I tried that product initially, I didn't love it because I felt like it didn't blend out well for me. It just kind of stuck wherever I initially applied it. So I decided to try this one just because a tint sounded really nice. I think it was maybe summertime and I was like, that sounds great. Something that's very long lasting, that stays in place. Personally, I just don't think these types of like watery tints are for me when it comes to the cheeks and blush. In general, I feel like they don't blend out well. This one blends a little bit better than the Benetint did. And I don't know if Benetint still has that kind of like brush tip applicator, but this one has like a very tiny doe foot. So I do find it a little bit easier to apply, but I love using this on the lips, and that's how I personally mainly use it. So if you're using it as a cheek product, maybe again, read through the reviews before purchasing it. But if you like a tint or a stain on the lips, this is really nice. You can go in with a very light, soft layer, but then you can layer it up to get more of an intense look. And a lot of lip stains are kind of expensive. And you know what? A lot of brands are doing those glossy lip stains these days. And I like those formulas because they're really comfortable. They start off glossy, and then once that layer wears off, you're left with the tint. This just kind of eliminates that glossy step. So you can use it on its own, or you can layer like a lip oil or a lip gloss on top, which is what I normally do. So I wear this a lot during the summertime when I'm maybe not wearing a ton of makeup, but I want my lip color to stay in place well, and then I'll just reapply a lip oil throughout the day. So such a great option. I wish they would end up launching additional shades because I do think Benefit has quite a few shade options at this point, and Essence only has like the red version. But if this shade appeals to you, it is a really great option if you like the idea of like a watery lip stain. Okay, this one got some mixed reviews. I remember trying it last year for the first time. It's the Magic Filter Glow Booster. So this is a good alternative to Charlotte Tilbury's Hollywood Flawless Filter. And again, at this point, a lot of brands have duped that or come out with a good alternative. This one's a little bit different than what a lot of other brands have done because it's slightly thicker, which I actually like because it leaves your skin looking and feeling incredibly smooth. A lot of brands definitely nail like the glowy factor, but I don't love using them on their own because they don't do much to actually even out my skin. They just add like a nice glow. Not that I wear this on its own a ton, but I actually think it pairs so nicely with a lighter coverage product because not only is it smoothing, like I said, it has that touch of coverage. So it does work to kind of even out your skin as a primer and like a prepping product before going in with a tinted moisturizer or a skin tint. Now, the reason why a lot of people don't like this is because they say it has a really strong scent. And at first I never noticed that, but then when I went back and tried it again after reading that, I was like, okay, it does have a weird scent. I can't really even explain what it is. Like it is an unpleasant scent. Like when I really try to smell it, I would say I don't even know. It maybe smells like the product has kind of gone bad, but it smelled like that when I initially bought the product. If you already have a glowy base product like the e.l.f. Halo Glow or, you know, Catrice has one, I wouldn't say you need to run out and buy this. This is slightly thicker than e.l.f. Like I said, it has a little bit more coverage and it's maybe slightly more smoothing. I do use it a little bit differently than e.l.f.'s product, but again, that scent might be a big turnoff for you. Essence did come out with their version of a jelly gripping primer. Again, a lot of brands have done this, but the reason why I like the Essence formula better is because it is a little thinner and not quite as sticky as other brands. So e.l.f. has done the Power Grip, which is one of my favorites. That is a thick, sticky primer, and this one is less intense in both ways. It's thinner, it actually feels a little bit more hydrating on the skin, and it's not as sticky. So if you want something that's lightly gripping, that will make your makeup last longer, that feels hydrating on the skin, really refreshing, this could actually be a great alternative. It actually blends into the skin a lot easier than the e.l.f. one. If you've tried the e.l.f. one and you're like, no, that feels like glue on my skin, this might be a better option because it's very watery as you blend it in, and then when it starts to dry, that's when it starts to feel slightly tacky. But again, it's not anywhere near as strong as the e.l.f. one. So if you feel like you'd rather, you know, lean into something that's more hydrating than sticky with just like a slight tackiness, this is probably going to be a great option for you. I actually love using this product as a primer. I do need to repurchase mine, and I know they've updated the packaging, but this is the Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer. This is a really good alternative to the Glow Recipe Dew Drops. Obviously, a lot less expensive. It even has like the same watermelon scent. It's like the same exact texture. If I apply this product side by side, I really can't see a difference. And the way my makeup applies is the exact same on both sides. There might be some differences when it comes down to the individual ingredients the brands include in the product. I haven't done a deep dive in comparing the ingredients, so that might be something that's important to you. But if you want a similar effect or you want a similar texture, this is a really great option. It really is such a nice product to either use as a primer or to mix in with other products as well. I've actually been mixing this with their bronzing drops because I feel like it just kind of thins them out a little bit and allows them to apply even just easier than they already do. So I do love this product. I actually don't have the bronzing drops, but I did want to mention those. I don't know where they are. I cannot find them anywhere. I don't know if I put them in like the wrong makeup drawer, if they're just like in the back of my collection somewhere, but I have been using those very frequently. I have a couple of other brands and I kind of use them all interchangeably. Essence, their formula is very thin, very smoothing. It does apply nicely on its own, but I usually like to mix it with either something like this or a moisturizer just to kind of sheer it out even more. Because on me, if I just go in with the bronzing drop directly, it does look a little bit orangey. At this point, I feel like there really is not a need, at least for me personally, to buy a high-end bronzing drop because there are so many affordable options. One big con is that Essence only launched one shade, whereas other brands from the drugstore usually have like at least 2 or 3. So if that shade doesn't look like it would work well for you, obviously I would say skip over it. But I think the Essence bronzing drop is the most affordable compared to other brands like e.l.f. and Milani. Okay, so for the next category, let's talk about 10 amazing underrated products. Now, you might have tried these, you might have heard some people talk about them, but they definitely don't get the same hype, the same attention as the previous 10 products I talked about, but I definitely think they are amazing options from the brand. So let's start with lip products. They do have 2 products that have very similar claims and kind of similar purposes, but they're different textures and different application methods. So I would say one might appeal to you more than the other. The one that I personally prefer is the Super Balm Glossy Lip Treatment, and then the other product I'll talk about is the Super Peptide Glossy Lip Treatment. The Super Balm Glossy Lip Treatment is basically like a liquefied lip balm. If you've tried something like the Too Faced Hangover lip balms, that's kind of what this reminds me of, but maybe slightly glossier on the lips. So it actually looks really beautiful, but it's also very, very nourishing. It has some great ingredients like shea butter, vitamin E. So, while it's on the lips, I feel like it is very moisturizing. And then once it wears off, my lips feel great too. So I'll either use this at night before I go to bed. Sometimes I'll use it in the morning as I'm getting ready. And honestly, I'll just use it throughout the day if my lips feel dry. It's definitely different than a traditional lip gloss. Like, it gives you a similar look, but I do feel like it is more intensely moisturizing and the benefits are there even once the product wears off. Now, if you prefer more of a traditional like lip balm type product, something that comes in a squeeze tube, you might actually like the Super Peptide Glossy Lip Treatment. I don't find this one to be quite as nourishing as this version, but it's a good everyday lip balm. I keep saying this, but I saw on Instagram they're coming out with additional shades in Europe. I think it was part of the spring or maybe like the summer collection. So I hope we get them here in the US as well, because I do really like this formula. It's very lightweight. It feels smooth on the lips. It's moisturizing. It is a traditional lip balm, so it's not going to last forever, but you can reapply it throughout the day. It's really easy. It smells good. It kind of has like a vanilla, just like a vanilla cake scent. Or is it? Yeah, I guess I would say that. Maybe it's the shea butter I'm smelling. It's not overly sweet, so it's not going to give you a headache while it's on the lips. It's just like very pleasant, and I do think it is a nice, affordable option that you can get from the drugstore or from Ulta. I know I've talked about these a lot. I feel like I've talked about them a lot recently, but they're so good and so underrated. The Essence Juicy Balm Glossy Butter Balms. These look amazing. They feel amazing. They're basically glossy lip balms. So maybe somewhat similar to the Makeup by Mario lip serums or the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lips. They're slightly thicker than Makeup by Mario, but I would say that's the most similar texture I've tried. And these do vary in terms of pigment. Like the pink one, the coral one, and the brown one probably look the most vibrant on the lips, whereas there's like a true clear, and then the green one and the purple one are a little bit more subtle. I have the purple one on today. I usually wear this over a nude lipstick just because it kind of cools the color down and adds just like the perfect hint of purple without being overwhelming. They smell so good. They all, I think for the most part, have a fruity scent, except for the chocolate one, which is a chocolate scent. And I love them. I wear them on their own. I wear them over lipstick, over lip liner. They're so comfortable. They definitely add that glossy finish, but they are highly moisturizing and they look pretty. They're very smooth, very glossy, just so, so gorgeous. I've really loved all of the different lipstick formulas Essence has done over the years, but I don't know that they have like a regular lipstick in their line right now. They've discontinued a lot of products since I filmed a video like this, and I used to love the This Is Nude line. And right now they have the Slim Stick lipsticks, which I think are great if you like a matte finish. I'm wearing the shade over the nude, and again, I do have that like purpley toned gloss on top, but this is one of my favorite lipstick colors of all time. I wear it so, so so often. These are nice because they are richly pigmented. They're definitely smooth and easy to apply, but they do have more of a true matte finish. A lot of matte lipsticks, they're just uncomfortable. They tug as you apply them. It's hard to get like an even application. And these are very, very creamy, like a traditional cream lipstick or a satin lipstick, but they do have more of a matte finish. Now, they do claim that they are 6-hour wear lipsticks. I don't really find that to be the case. They don't wear off super, super quickly on me, but they aren't transfer proof. So they will wear off if you're eating or drinking or touching your lips. But because they're so comfortable and so vibrant, I really don't have an issue. I'll just reapply them. Or again, I usually throw a gloss on top these days anyway, because I don't always love a matte finish just in general. I do prefer glossy finishes overall. So these are really great if you want an affordable lipstick. They have really beautiful shades to choose from. Okay, this product has been around for a while. Again, probably one of the first products that I ever tried from the brand. So you might have tried it at this point, but a lot of higher end brands are doing lash primers. I've noticed a lot of them are doing tubing lash primers, which sounds kind of interesting, but they're also just launching lash primers in general. And if you're looking for a lash primer, I really don't think you have to go high end, especially when this product exists. It is their Volume Booster Lash Primer. Now they have another lash primer that did not work for me. I'll talk about that near the end of the video, but I love this one because it really enhances lashes you might not know you had. And that makes a big difference if you have thin lashes or sparse lashes. You just apply it before you go in with mascara. It basically just kind of enhances all of your lashes, and it does make them feel a little bit thicker. I usually let mine dry for like a minute or two, and then I'll go in with mascara right on top, and it really does amplify any mascara I use it with. Honestly, if I wasn't in a hurry and I wasn't feeling lazy, I'd probably use this every single time I did my makeup. But you know how sometimes you just want to get through it and you don't want to take any extra steps? That's usually how I feel when it comes to something like this. But if I try a mascara that doesn't work for me or doesn't, make my lashes look dramatic enough, I'll just use this before it, and then I feel like I didn't waste the mascara. It sucks when you try a mascara that doesn't work well for you. It's a $5 fix, and I mean, you can use it with that mascara that sucks, or you can use it with ones that are really good just to boost them, and it does a great job. It's also white, so if you are into colorful mascaras, this just kind of creates a nice base if you have dark lashes, so colorful mascara can show up a little bit better on the lashes. So as much as I love the Lash Princess mascara, I do think the Lash Without Limits mascara is better. If you didn't like the Lash Princess mascara, this could be a good alternative for you because it does give a similar amount of length and drama, but it's almost easier to build. I think this wand is a little bit easier to use. It's like a very short rubber bristled wand. And normally those are not my favorite, but this actually applies so nicely to the lashes, and I feel like it works fast. Like if you're in a hurry, the Lash Princess mascara might not be the most ideal option because it is such a wet formula. It takes a long time to dry, and then it takes a little while to build. And again, while this is still a wet formula, I just find that it layers a little bit faster. So I absolutely love this on days where I want dramatic long lashes. It's maybe not as voluminous as the Curl and Volume from Lash Princess, but it's still really great. And they also have a brown version, which I love. I actually only have one of these blushes, and I always mean to try more, but it's the type of product that I feel like I need to pick up in person because originally I ordered two and one came completely shattered. And a lot of you have said that when you order this product, it does come shattered as well. And the one that I have has even broken since I purchased it. So if you do try the Blush Crush from Essence, I do recommend going in store because it seems like a very fragile formula. This is so smooth on the skin though. Like I know I talk a lot about smoothing cheek products, but if you want a blush that truly gives you like a smooth appearance, this is a great option. I don't know about all of the shades, but this one definitely has an intense glow to it. So it's kind of a similar effect to what you would get with like the Bare Minerals. What are they called? I think they're just called like the Bare Minerals highlighting blushes. I'm pretty sure. I was going to say bronzer, but that's not it. This has like a bronzer tone in that you could use it as like a blush bronzer all in one, but it gives you the glow that the Bare Minerals highlighting blushes give. So if you like that type of cheek product, I think you'll love this. And again, I don't know if that's the case for all of them because I only tried the one shade. So I do want to go check this out in person. I always forget. Whenever I'm at Ulta, I feel like I'm just looking at like a million different things. I actually don't have the Brighten Up Banana Powder with with me. I don't know the last time I had that in my collection. I don't always have that on hand, but when I do, I love it. And I know banana powders are not as popular these days because a lot of brands are doing like pink under eye powders, peach under eye powders, lavender ones, and depending on your skin tone, a banana powder might not be the most flattering or the best option for you. But if you do like the idea of a brightening banana powder, if that's still something you use, the Essence formula is really gorgeous, very smooth, super, super silky. That being said, if you are into more of the colorful powders these days, the Flawless Skin Trio Loose Setting Powder actually comes with a peach, a pink, and a lavender all in one. And it's nice because you can use the powders separately by turning the little sifter, or you can mix them all together by taking it out. And I love this formula because it's not as intense as a lot of other brands. Now, a pigmented pink powder or a really pigmented peach powder might be a great option for you. But if you like the idea of like a soft color correcting powder, then I recommend this one. And you can get all three for, I think, like $6. On top of that, this formula is gorgeous. It is so silky, so finely milled. It looks amazing on the skin. Like, it does smooth out the skin, it mattifies it, it locks your makeup into place. You can really go in and pack it, and you can get a little bit more of a vibrant look, or you can just use like a big fluffy brush and it just sets everything so well. It's so beautiful. So I have nothing but good things to say about this. I mean, if I'm being picky, I will say it is kind of a messy powder just because that little piece in the middle does come out. And if you don't have it like closed, because you can't fully close it, there's always at least one color showing, and you throw it in a makeup bag or it's kind of moving around, a lot of powder does dump out pretty quickly. But for $6, it's so nice to have the different options in one, and the formula really is great. Okay, so this third category would be some of my daily staples. Honestly, some of the products in the first category and the second category could probably be considered daily staples as well, but those were more so like viral products or underrated products, whereas these don't necessarily fall into like the viral or underrated category. These are just reliable products that I think are great, and you don't have to spend a ton of money when these exist because they'll do the job within your daily routine for a fraction of the price. Okay, so the first one is an eyeshadow primer. I actually skipped eyeshadow primer for a really long time, and then I tried this one. It is the Prime Like a Boss eyeshadow base, and I fell back in love with it. This is a very creamy formula. It's very thin, but it really does lock your shadows into place well. And the reason why I love this is because I have a lot of texture. My right eyelid is always dry no matter what I do, and this just completely smooths over the areas. So eyeshadow actually looks so much better on top. It almost transforms powder eyeshadow and allows it to kind of look creamy or apply like a cream. So even if you don't have a lot of texture on your eyelids and you have like a super powdery palette, pairing it with this primer formula really will make a big difference. So I highly recommend this one. The Stay and Play gel eyeliners, these are $4.99. These apply really nicely. They're very creamy, very rich and beautiful, but they dry down and they stay in place extremely well. So I love using these on the waterline when I am using a liner there. My favorite is Silky Nude to kind of brighten up the eyes, but I also like using them on the upper lash line as well. They're not as creamy as, I don't know, like the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide on eye pencils or even like the LA Girl liners, but I think these actually stay in place better than both of those brands. So you're not going to get like the most smooth, even glide if you are using them on the upper lash line, but they do apply really well on the waterline. If longevity is mainly what you're looking for, I think you'll love this formula. I actually don't have any of the Juicy Bomb lip glosses. They're super affordable. They're $2.99. I think they actually redid the entire line. On Ulta's website, they only have a few shades, but on the Essence website, they have like a bunch of scents that I personally don't remember them having. So I personally don't need a new lip gloss at this point, but I do like those, especially if you're looking for a truly affordable lip gloss. Those almost feel like a lip gloss, lip oil hybrid, like very thin, very, very glossy, easy to throw on and reapply throughout the day. But if you're looking for an actual lip oil, you already know I love the Essence Hydra Kiss lip oils. These do have some mixed reviews. Some people don't like the scent. I feel like they have a little bit of a floral scent, which is not great for a lip oil. It's not something that bothers me at this point because I love the formula. I don't really even notice it anymore. But if you are very sensitive to fragrance, that might turn you off. Anyway, the actual formula is so gorgeous. It feels really luxe. It's very thick. It's very nourishing. It stays in place well. And these are also very, very glossy. I actually wear these over lipstick all the time, kind of in place of lip gloss. And the lines are so blurred these days when it comes to lip oil and lip gloss. I would say compared to something like the e.l.f. lip oil or the Milani lip oil, when you wear this on the lips, it does feel and look more like a traditional lip gloss, but I love it. It looks so pretty. All three shades are pretty sheer overall, but really comfortable, very, very nourishing. So I think Essence actually brought back the cranberry lip oil. They have it on the Essence website. They actually tried to relaunch it in this formula, or at least this style of packaging, and they got like a lot of backlash on TikTok. People were like, no, we want the original cranberry lip oil back. So if you go to the Essence website, they have this on there. And I know so many people love this. Honestly, I do like this formula. This one is not as thick as the Hydra Kiss lip oil, so it does feel more like a traditional lip oil. It still has a very glossy finish. It still feels nourishing, but it doesn't have like that overly like plush texture like Hydra Kiss. The nice part about this one is that it does give your lips like a pretty pink tint, and normally I think it is one of those pH tinting lip products. I normally don't like that, but I find this one to be really flattering, very pretty. It doesn't turn like that bright hot pink on me. There's definitely still a pink tint there, but it's a little bit softer on the lips, and I love it. I think it's very, very comfortable, so pretty. So I understand why a lot of people loved this. A few complexion products. So whenever the topic of discontinued makeup comes up on my channel, I feel like I always get comments from you saying that you missed this product from Essence. It's not available on Ulta's website any longer, but you can actually still purchase it from the Essence website. I actually just repurchased it a few months ago. It's their Pretty Natural Hydrating Foundation. It reminds me a little bit of the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. They're not identical. I would say this one's a little bit thicker, but on the skin, I feel like they look similar. This one might have slightly more coverage too. So if you like the e.l.f. one, but slightly amped up, you might really like this. I don't find it to be incredibly hydrating. And whenever Essence or Catrice, because they're sister brands, whenever they launch a complexion product and they market it as a hydrating product, I never find it to be completely hydrating. And maybe that's why people don't love them, because I know a lot of people have dry skin or just like more of a hydrating complexion product in general. But as someone who has combo skin, I do like this because it feels very lightweight. It's a good medium coverage product, and I find that it wears really well on my skin. So just a heads up, if you love this too, it is still available on the Essence website. I wear the shade Neutral Champagne. Sometimes I'll mix in a slightly deeper shade in the summer, but right now this is a really good shade match for me. I also love the Essence Powder Foundation. I've kind of gotten away from powder foundation as a whole, but I would say the Essence one is still my favorite. It's great on its own if you do like to wear powder foundation alone, but it's also so pretty if you want to add a little bit of extra coverage to whatever foundation you're wearing. So if you are pairing it with something like this, it's really nice because it just kind of sets it and smooths out the skin and adds a touch more coverage without looking heavy or cakey. Powder foundations for me can either be like so powdery and they can look really dry on the skin, or they can be like a little bit more of like a smooth powder but look really cakey, and this one doesn't do either. Like, it really is such a gorgeous formula. So my favorite powder foundation for sure. I've repurchased this product like it has to be at least 15 times, maybe even more than that. I usually buy at least one every summer because it is my favorite summer powder. It's the Essence All About Matte. It is a super matte setting powder, so if you have oily skin, this is going to be a great option. It's also a very powdery powder, but when you have oily skin, a powdery powder is actually nice because your skin is going to get so oily so fast. So sometimes you want to be proactive and go in with something that really mattifies. As someone who currently has combo skin, I probably wouldn't use this because I do find it to be extremely mattifying. But if you have oily skin, or it's hot, or it's summer where you live and you're just kind of sweaty or glowy or glistening and you need something to, tone that down, this is great. Okay, let's finish up with products from the brand that did not work for me and some products that I don't think are worth the money. Now, I will say my list is a little bit smaller than it would have been if I maybe filmed this video like a year ago, because it seems like they've discontinued a lot of products, and a lot of the products that were discontinued were things that didn't work for me. So these are just products that didn't work for me that are currently available. So if we have similar skin types or we have similar makeup preferences, these might not be the most ideal option for you either. But, they could work for you because when it comes down to it, makeup usually performs differently for everyone. So maybe you'll end up loving them. The first product I have on my list right here is the Call Me Queen Dramatic False Lash Effect Mascara. I tried to love this one, and I don't know if it was the marketing that got me or just the fact that I do really like their mascaras. And it wasn't, part of the Lash Princess line. line, but it was kind of touted as like a similar or sister product to the Lash Princess False Lash Effect. I just could not get that mascara to work for me. And I don't think it was the formula. I think it was the brush. And I told you a few different times, like I was going to try it with a different brush, and then I honestly just never got around to it. But the brush was so bendy, so flexible that I feel like I had a really hard time not only initially applying it to my lashes, but like building it up and going in with more coats, because every time I would go to layer it on, I would just like hit my eyelid, and then I would end up with the messiest eyes. And I'm not like the most careful when I'm applying my makeup or my mascara. Usually I will have to go in and clean it up no matter what mascara I'm wearing. But I swear, like the one day I walked upstairs after I did my makeup and I was like waiting for it to dry so I could go in with a Q-tip and remove it. And my husband was like, "Oh, you really meshed your eye makeup up, just so you know." And I was like, "Yes, I know." But honestly, I was kind of surprised he noticed, because I don't feel like he would normally notice that, but it was that bad. The next product that didn't work for me was the Baby Got Blush Cream Blush. And I know some people do like these, and they ended up coming out with a bronzer line as well. And when they launched the bronzer line, I was like, should I try those? Maybe they would work for me. But honestly, I had such a bad experience with the blush line that I was like, no, I can't pick it up. It was just such a thick formula. And I mean, it looked okay, but honestly, it didn't like melt into my skin in a very natural way. It almost sat on top of the skin, whether I swiped it on directly or I just used a brush and then blended it in. It never really looked great. The actual finish was pretty because it did have a little bit of a glow to it, but the texture was just very thick, very heavy. And there are just so many cream blushes out there that are really lightweight on the skin that I was like, that's an absolute no for me. So that was something that I personally wasn't a big fan of. But I mean, I've been tempted to try the bronzer from time to time. I was like, I can't, because it's probably such a similar texture. I almost forgot about these. They have a line called the highlighter. And when they launched these, I was excited because I do love the Pure Nude Baked Highlighter, but this is a different formula. And I actually love their line called the blush. So again, I was like, the highlighters are going to be perfect, but they did not look good on my skin. They really enhanced texture. And I know highlighter, by definition, is going to spotlight your skin. And if you have texture on your cheeks, it's going to highlight that texture. But there was something about that formula. It was like dry, and it just wasn't flattering. That's all it really comes down to. It kind of felt like an old school formula, like pre-Becca highlighters. You know, when Becca launched their highlighters and everyone was like, these are so smooth and so creamy and so gorgeous. Before that, a lot of highlighters really did not feel like that on the skin. Obviously, there were probably some that did, but a lot of brands launched like chalky, dry, patchy highlighters. And that's what the Essence one kind of reminded me of. It's still available, so maybe it is still a good seller because they haven't discontinued it, but personally, I would just stick with the Pure Nude Baked Highlighter. What else do I have on the list? The Meta Glow Duochrome Eye Pencil. I was so excited about this, and it was so underwhelming. Not only was it not an actual duochrome eye pencil, it like fell out, it broke on me instantly. There was like no pigment. It didn't last on the eyes. It was just like a complete fail all around, both in the duochrome department, but also the quality department as a whole. It just wasn't a good eyeliner. And the last product that I personally don't recommend trying from the brand is their other lash primer. So like I said, I do love the Volume Booster one. I've repurchased this so many times over the years, but not too long ago, I think actually just last year, they came out with a Lash Princess one. And the Volume Booster one is obviously meant to give you volume, whereas the Lash Princess one, I think, is meant to give you more length. I really didn't see a difference in my lashes when I used that one versus not using it. Like, I wore it multiple times on one eye and then paired it with a bunch of mascaras. And honestly, there was no difference in the way my mascara looked or the way that it wore throughout the day. So I thought that was so weird because this one is so good and I see an instant difference, but the Lash Princess one didn't work for me personally. So if you're going to buy a lash primer, personally, I recommend this one. I think it really does make a difference, whereas that one just didn't do anything for me. Okay, so that's everything I wanted to share in today's video. This was a long video. I know it was because my camera stops recording like every 25 minutes. So I have to like get up and push the button again, and I got up multiple times. So I'm going to try to edit it down, but I think these videos as a whole are just going to be a little bit longer because I include so many products. So I hope it was helpful. If you're still watching, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite products from the brand are, or products that didn't work for you, because I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you very soon with a new one. Bye.